brothers. How do people find churches today? Do they go to the telephone book, the yellow pages? Do they look for them in newspapers? Or do they look for them on the radio? In fact, no, they don't. Today, most people who are finding a church are finding it on the internet. Churches that are successful today, that are growing, have web pages. The Alliance can create a web page and put all of our churches on the internet. Our proposal today, our discussion is going to be, how can we use the internet? What we really want to do, we're in the 21st century. We want to go to the next dimension by living in the 21st century. What we found out is that about 80% of all Americans don't go to church. Frightening statistics. We don't use neighborhood churches anymore. People today stay home. They watch church on television, or they don't have any kind of religious activities. So there are 80% of Americans who we can attract and approach about becoming members of our church. We don't have to recruit people from other churches. There are plenty of people out there looking for a religious experience. We just have to be where they can find us so that we can provide that experience. How do people communicate today? They don't read. Our young people don't read newspapers as we did when we were young. They don't watch as much television. Most of what they do on the internet. Social networking sites like Facebook and Twitter. And in fact, even our churches, some of our churches now have Facebook and Twitter accounts where they can keep up with people and people can keep up with them on those social networking sites. What is the internet? The internet, in fact, is just a collection of computers all over the world that are networked together so people can communicate. We were taught at one time that the internet was the devil. That's not true. The internet, in reality, my brothers, is just a method of getting information out. You can get a lot of information on the internet, and at the same time you can share a lot of information. The internet can be a good tool. If you're worried about porn and that kind of thing, you just have to put the right filters in place and people can't get to those websites. What is the next dimension? For the Alliance, we've used radio, we've used television, we've used flyers. The next dimension for the Alliance would be the establishment of a CMAS webpage where people can find our footprint on the internet. People can look on the internet, find out not just about the activities of the Alliance, but activities of our local churches, so that we're all using the internet. We all have a footprint. We all are making noise out on the internet. Who are we going to be like? Well, in fact, one of the biggest footprints on the internet in the church world today is Kojic.net. Under the leadership of Bishop Blake, the International Church of God in Christ has a huge footprint on the internet. Kojic.net is a place where not only can you find out about the activities of the church, but during the convocations and during our national meetings, you can watch those meetings streamed live over the internet. Bishop Blake believes that we should have an internet presence, and in fact will do things to help local churches establish computer programs and internet presence. Why should we have a web page? Well, one of the first things that happen is when you have a web page, people all over the world can find you. When you have a web page, you have instant credibility. When you have a web page, you can disseminate information the way you want it disseminated. You can pick and choose what you put on your web page. So people will find out what it is you want them to know about what you're doing so that your programs are publicized the way you want them publicized. What would a web page do for us? We could have our calendar on the web page. We could have activities of other local churches on the web page. We can have pictures of all of our pastors and our leaders on the web page. There's a lot we can do with a well-constructed web page. What is our action plan? We're going to appoint a committee to start working on developing a web page. They're going to come back to us with prices. They're going to come back to us with designs. They're going to come back and ask us for information and pictures so that we can construct a good web page and people can find out what CMAS is doing no matter where they are in the world. As we prepare to celebrate our 25th anniversary, we want to broaden our footprint. So let me ask you again, my brothers. What do you want to do? Do you want to get into the 21st century? Or do you want to stay in the 20th century? How do you want people to find you today? Let's go to the internet so they can find us. Thank you. God bless you.